Hey guys, welcome back to Favorite Iron and Customs. I'm Michael. We got the new wire in for the welder. It's actually Sunday, so I did get out here yesterday and work a little bit on the truck. I decided against going with a Watts link. And the main reason behind that is because the links will be really short. If you're on a bagged vehicle and the propeller, they call it, comes down and is able to change directions, it can cause problems. I don't think we got that much travel, but I decided to go ahead and run with doing the Panhard bar. I actually did a bunch of tacking up with the titanium 125 from Harbor Freight, turned it up on high. It did pretty good tacking. And you could weld this whole thing up with it, but it would take a lot of wire and a lot of time and a lot of patience, a lot more patience than I got. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start burning in these places that are tacked. Then we're going to jump into getting the rear bag brackets made, getting the rear links attached. I haven't quite decided what I want to do about attaching them to the axle. I have a set of polyurethane bushings so we can make that extra length that's got the pivot underneath the axle, or something I thought about that we already have, they're just not in the best looking of shape, is a set of shackles off of a Ranger to do that. I'm probably going to use the polyurethane bushings, but there are options if you don't want to go out and buy bushings and stuff. If you want to scavenge the salvage yard and find bits and pieces and parts, and you can do it however you want to. Let's jump into it. Let's kill the camera. You guys still there? Ooh, I have a little bit of drama with the welder this morning, so may have to change the liner out. I tried to look to see what size wire I had, and I think it may have been 40 thousandths, and I was running a 45 tip. I usually run one size bigger tip than I do to help keep it from sticking. And it seems like the motor's not wanting to feed in the welder like it's supposed to, but the liner's probably got a kink in it somewhere. Also, somehow the tip had gotten bent. So anyway, I'm going to throw another couple of welds on here and we'll come back. Okay guys, well, we had a little side quest earlier. I kept bring y'all up to speed with where I'm at to begin with. I went ahead and finished up the welds. I added a gusset here and a gusset there. I'm going to actually triangulate this back to the third member as soon as I make sure that everything's going to clear when we cycle up and down. I need to do some more work here as well. Just wanted to let y'all keep in mind, if you build something like this, make sure that the water can drain out. I may try to close that in before it's over with, but while I was letting that cool, I went back in to check on my Facebook, and I had a message on Marketplace where a seller had got back with me on something that I had asked about this morning. So I made a little trip up to Rocky Mount, and this is what I picked up. This is a SN95 T5, which means it's 94. He said that it was 94. He had already run the numbers. But this is a SN95 T5, which is 94, 95, 50 Mustang, the SN95 body, and I think from 96 to 2003 it came behind the 3.8. So anyway, this is what's going to go behind the Y block. It's already got a Hurst shifter in it, a little short throw shifter. So that's cool. Don't know how well that's going to work out with the truck. I expect the shifter is going to have to be lengthened to work in the truck. I don't know if I'm going to use a cross member, but I have it. And the only thing we need to find is the correct spline output shaft for it, and I need to work on that. What I'm going to have going with this is I found a truck bell housing. It's the one that mounts in the truck where you have motor mounts and the transmission mounts are off with a bell housing and works with this transmission and an adapter plate. So I've got the bell housing, the adapter plate on the way. So we're going to need clutch and pressure plate and a flywheel. So finding a flywheel that fits a Y block, it's been kind of fun. I haven't found one yet, but we have some time, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. It will show up. I did see a Y block up in Virginia for sale for a couple $100. Worst case scenario, I end up with another Y block. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll find it. We'll find the parts. They're out there. So with that being said, we don't have to worry about that crazy bell crank and the transmission, that Ford-O-Matic transmission. We don't have to worry with that anymore. But I believe, from what I understand, there's 3 sizes of Ford-O-Matics, a small, medium, and large. I think this will work in the 54 if I need it. So we're going to keep the transmission. I'm going to keep that car pretty much stock. I had talked about maybe finding another one of these Mercury 4-barrel intakes and putting a Mercury like the teapot in there, but I think I'm just going to leave that car stock, and not change anything that I don't have to change. Now, what I've already got, picked this up last week sometime, I meant to tell you all about it, is an adapter plate to go from the teapot. I think the Holley teapot pattern, and it will also go to a Carter W CFB. I don't know. There was 3. Rochester had a 4-barrel carburetor that used that same pattern. Just stuff in the late 50s, late 50s, and early 60s. And I think whenever the Holley came out, they kind of went away from those. Holley and Edelbrock, and definitely by the time the Quadrajet came out, they had went away from that small pattern carburetor. As a matter of fact, that was one of the recommendations, was to find one of the Carter or Rochester carburetors to replace the teapot with. But I've got a 600 Holley. That's way too much carburetor for that engine. I need to find a 390 CFM Holley, so we will be on the lookout for that in the future. Anyway, so that kind of brings you up to speed with where I'm at right this minute. I did cut bars loose that I had mounted the rear end to the chassis, so it's free floating. It's attached to the 4-link and the Panhard bar. And I think we're still going to try to get a little more done in this video, probably just a little welding. I wanted to get further this week, but I had intended on being out here working a few more hours today than what I was. So anyway, you know, you win, you lose. We're going to see how it goes. How about that? Wow, all that welding. I'm going to let that side cool down before I jump on the other side. Oh, okay, so what's next? Smoky. Oh, let's see, what is next? Oh, next, I need to start thinking about how we're going to mount these trailing arms to this axle. Okay guys, my little indicator says that the battery's about to die, so we're going to carry that in the house and let it charge. I'm going to start trying to figure out what... I've got too much junk up here. I'm going to start trying to figure out what we are going to do for the brackets that's going to go on the axle. I am taking a little note here from Brent at Half-Ass Customs and recycling the adult beverage boxes. So the axle is about 3 3/4 inches. So we're going to start us with a baseline of how the bracket needs to be made. This measures approximately 3 3/4 inches. So that should be approximately the size of where our tab needs to mount. We don't want this to be super low, but we do want to have some room between it and the bracket. So I'm just, firing from the hip. I'm going to leave us 1 inch. I think that should be good. let me see. And we're just going to leave us a little, give us an idea about where we want this, where we want the pivot to be, and we need to find the middle of that. Probably should have found the middle to begin with, but you know, it is what it is. We're kind of, like I said, firing from the hip, as Puddin would say. Where? There it is. All right. So, set our center line somewhere around there. I'm going to call our center there. All right. Now, let's see. I don't think the bottom of that needs to be that big. That is probably also going to be too big. Actually, technically, it doesn't have to be the bottom of this tab, because it's going to have a hole in the center, which is, I think, 9/16 is what size that hole is, which is close to 14 millimeter, or between 14 and 15 millimeter, for anybody that lives in the rest of the world. So it can actually be that shape. So we are going to pull our straight edge out. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of a round over on that tab. And I'm going to tell you what I'm actually going to do on this. Because we know that the tip of the plasma cutter is like 1/8 of an inch or so bigger than, I mean, the center of the 1/8 of an inch. We're going to cut out our little, tab, and we're going to transfer it to the wood and make it this shape right here, and then just make it as much bigger as what the tip cuts, the kerf of the tip from the edge. I'm going to go plug this in. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to cut the form out of the piece of wood. I don't know if we're going to do any more recording today or not.